Josh Green here for Tungsten Tales. Delighted to be joined by Adam Warner, the newest tour card holder in the PDC. How are you doing, Adam?
Good, thanks, Josh. Thanks for having me on.
No, good to have you on. Been trying to speak to quite a few of the new tour card holders, and I think the one word that comes up about Q School is brutal. Just give me your experience of what it was like down in Milton Keynes for those few days.
Yeah, I think that sort of sums it up. I mean, it's almost like two separate tournaments. So you've got the first 3 days. So you've got 400-500 people there, how many it was. That sort of felt quite similar to a big open. It's sort of more people having a good time, enjoying themselves. And then you get through that and come back on the Thursday, and it's completely different atmosphere. It's quiet, it's tense. Everyone's got their earphones in, everyone's focusing. There's sort of managers and people walking around. So it is almost like two separate things. And then obviously, yeah, there's 128 people there, 13 tour cards, so about 10% of the people get one. And people say it's a lottery, and there's no other way of doing it, I don't think. And you've just got to try and do as best as what you're given. Some people will complain about bad draws and I missed a double here, and then that means I've not got my tour card. But you've got 4 days, and you've just got to give it your best, really.
Do you think the experience of that second stage is sort of the closest thing you've experienced to Pro Tour darts, really? Because you've got 128 players in the room that are all very, very capable on that day of going winning the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. You could from those 128, you could make an argument of probably for 80 or 90 of them to be one of the 13 to get their card. There's no people who aren't good who've got through that first bit, because it's difficult. I'd say we might come on to it, but the sort of experience of the ADC Tour last year, it was sort of, having never gone to Q School or Challenge Tour or anything like that, it sort of struck me how similar the Q School was to one of those ADC things in terms of how the boards are set up, and you've got the barrier and sort of no alcohol past the barrier and things like that. So that sort of, I think that prepared me quite well for it. Yeah, I was lucky enough to play in the UK Open this year as well as one of the Riley's qualifiers. So that sort of gave me a bit of practice and experience for it. So yeah, it didn't take me by surprise, I wouldn't say, but yeah, you notice how sort of serious and professional and how well it is run.
What was the expectation for you going into it? You've obviously been in good form. You've played, you say, ADC, you've played Modus League and things like that, and that's obviously done good things for a lot of players over the last 18 months or so, but it's hard to sort of gauge expectation going into something like Q School, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And there'll be people there who are definitely sort of more accomplished and hit sort of higher averages and better scores than me more consistently, who've come away with no points. That's just the nature of it. And expectations wise, I think before Modus, I wasn't going to enter Q School. I was going to give it another year. And then obviously I won that money at Modus, and that gave me the sort of ability to go and do it, because without that I wouldn't have been able to afford it, to be honest. So having that there, I thought, well, I might as well sort of ride this crest of a wave, if you like, and thought I'll enter Q School and see how it goes. I'd have been disappointed if I'd not got through the first stage. I'd have seen that as a negative. And once I got through the first stage, I was sort of relatively content with how I'd done, and just thought, let's push on and see what I can do. So the first day didn't go to plan, even though I didn't really do anything wrong. Just missed a couple of doubles at the end, so I come away with no points. I'm sort of looking on booking.com for hotels for next week for the Challenge Tour. But then obviously the Friday, just everything went my way. And then from that moment on, it was, well, I might do this now. And luckily in the end I did.
What was that moment where you thought, I might be on the Pro Tour next year? Was there any sort of moment you can think of where it really clicked that you might do it?
There were sort of several where you sort of think, yes, I've done it, and then 10 minutes later you're looking at, oh no, this might happen, and this might happen, and it could go wrong. But even after I lost to Graham on the second day in the final, Graham Usher, I sort of thought 5 points, and I looked back to last year and I was like, 5 points was enough. I just need to get one more in 2 days. That's easy. That'll be fine. I've done it. I went home sort of bouncing, and I sort of had to think about it. I was like, well, there's less people who are getting it this year, so I'm probably going to need 6. Went back on Saturday, got to 6 points, got to 7 points. Like, yes, I've definitely done it now. And then look at the FDI sort of rankings and ratings, and it's saying I think I had an 85% chance of getting it. I was, oh no, I might need 8. It's just continuously going like that until on that Sunday afternoon where your name went dark green on the darts rankings thing. It's like say it's confirmed and you've done it. So yeah, constant ups and downs, a bit of an emotional roller coaster, really.
I think anybody's ever been so happy to see their name go dark green on darts rankings. I think every player and everybody at home was just looking exactly the same, waiting for the confirmation, and I think that's how everybody sort of does it now, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's sort of 100% guaranteed official, but I think that's the way people choose to follow it. And they've not got it wrong yet, I don't think. No. So yeah, it's just one of those things, I suppose. And you're watching the scores on the Sunday afternoon, and there was a time sort of at first where all the people I needed to not get points were sort of getting through, and I was like, oh no, surely not. And then luckily they all sort of drew each other or got knocked out, and it sort of for the last hour before I did eventually like guarantee it sort of looked like it was going my way. So it wasn't quite as stressful as it could have been if I'd been one of the people on 6 points or something. But yeah, still not a particularly not pleasant experience, say, leading up to it. But yeah.
Let's talk about your sort of uni darts experience, because it's an interesting route, I'd say. Lots of players come through, whether it be like the WDF or their amateur circuit. Lots of players will do like the JDC, followed by development tour and things like that. It's been a little bit more of a different route for yourself, hasn't it?
Yeah, so it's sort of important to stress that sort of uni darts for people who are playing at university or who want to play. It's mainly a bit of fun. So you go and play other universities. You sort of go. So I was at University of Sheffield. So that's who I played for. We've got a couple of pub teams on a Thursday, one of which I still play for, like in the local area. And then obviously the current students go and play local unis like Nottingham, Manchester, Loughborough, Sheffield, Hallam. And it's for all abilities. So when I was playing there, I know you can't use averages completely as a guide, but I was sort of probably averaging in the 60s, maybe low 70s sometimes, and that was considered quite high up. There are people averaging sort of in the high 20s and early 30s, just who haven't played before, and it's just a way to make friends and have a bit of fun, really. And that was similar with the sort of big tournaments. You go to these, it was called the Weekender that the University Darts UK, UD UK run. Sort of was, well, pre-COVID anyway, it was once a year, sort of 400 people, group stage with 9 people in. So you start at 10 in the morning. I remember, I think the furthest I got was the semi-finals, but that was about 10 at night. So you've been there all day playing 8 or 9 group games, last 128, last 64. So you do take it seriously to an extent. Like I was going to them thinking, well, I want to win, but it's more just for fun. So it's not quite the same as the WDF or the ADC in terms of a route through. But yeah, if you're looking to get sort of competitive experience and see if you can hold your own on a double, because the way I describe it is you've certainly not got best of order, it's probably worst of order. So you'd be there throwing for a double and you've got your rival team behind you and miss. And it's like, that definitely wouldn't be allowed on the WDF, but it's uni students, isn't it? It's just a bit of fun.
Yeah. Well, you say at that sort of time it was just for fun and you were averaging 60s, low 70s. Like at that point, did you think darts could be a possible career and you could really make money from it?
No, I didn't, to be honest. And this is all my uni days were pre-COVID. Sort of I finished like the year before it all started. So no, it was just for fun. Like I knew I was half decent and I could sort of win games in a pub league. And like if I went to a pub tournament, I could maybe win it or get to the final. But I didn't see myself getting to this stage. But it was about just over 12 months ago, I was watching the Worlds, and I thought I wasn't really doing anything. Sort of, I had a job, and it finished, so I wasn't working. And I was sort of watching it on the telly, and I was like, even if it's just something to do, just go and play some darts and enter a tournament. Went to, I think it was the Lincolnshire Open just before Christmas, so just over a year ago. Got beat in the first round, but played all right. And I was like, there might be something here. So I sort of thought, let's put an hour and a half, 2 hours a day practicing and see what happens. And sort of a month later, went to Staffordshire Open, mainly to see my grandma, 'cause that's where she lives. So I thought I'll go and play some darts and go and see her. I won that. I was like, this is crazy. There's like professionals here. And I didn't play any of them. I sort of managed to avoid them and got through and won it. 3 weeks after that, went to the Riley's UK Open qualifier in Liverpool, won that, and sort of couldn't believe it. And yeah, from that moment, I thought, well, there might be something here. Like, even though my numbers aren't as high as a lot of players, I can hit a double, and I can hit a big checkout when I need to. Which for a lot of people in amateur darts, anyway, it's the other way around. They can hit 180s, but when they get to that 64 checkout, it doesn't go, and then I'm sat there on 84 and I get it.
Yeah.
So I sort of thought from there, let's give it a go and see what happens. And yeah, as I say, I couldn't even predict it the last month with the Modus and Q School. It's been crazy, but yeah, we'll just keep enjoying it and see what happens.
Because the last 12 months has just been gone from strength to strength. I think career has sort of accelerated so quickly with, you say, those opens and getting to the UK Open and then doing what you did at Modus. It seems like it's gone from 0 to 100 so quickly. Is that kind of what it's felt like for you?
Yeah, it's sort of, but even quicker than that, I would say. So from the sort of UK Open and Staffordshire Open I was telling you about, I was sort of winning every sort of couple of weeks. It sort of leveled out over the year. So I was getting to quarterfinals and semi-finals. My numbers were staying about the same. So I was sort of averaging 70s, 80s most of the time. So it was still a decent level of darts, but not extraordinary stuff. And then, yeah, I went to Modus, and maybe it was there sort of playing other sort of people I've seen on the telly and now professionals. You got Nick Kenny was there, he's got his card. Vainstra's got his card. Chris Landman won a Challenge Tour. They were all there. So that sort of pushed my numbers up, and I was looking at some of my averages, and I was 101, 96. That's much higher than I normally do. And then same again at Q School. I had a couple of 100 averages, which I've not really done before. Like, I've only averaged over 100 a few times, and that's all been in the last month. So I've sort of accelerated a great deal since, say, the beginning of December. So now it's just about keeping it there and accelerating even further, and hopefully playing with the top professionals will help me do that. I do tend to raise my game when I'm playing someone who's better than me. So it'll just be a case of whether that continues or not. It's going to have to, isn't it? But yeah, we'll see. I'm determined to enjoy it, whatever happens. That's the way I'd say it.
What are the goals for the next year or even 2 years? What do you sort of want to achieve after the 2 years of tour card?
It probably sounds a bit sort of cliche, but first of all, I'm determined, as I say, to enjoy it. I've spoken to lots of people who've had cards before, and they were sort of tearing up the amateur game more than I have. And then they got the tour card, and you get on a bit of a losing streak. You maybe lose a couple of 6-5s you should have won, and it sort of becomes a bit of a chore, and they start disliking darts, and it sort of goes downhill from there. So I'm really, really going to try and make sure that doesn't happen. I'm going to keep enjoying it, because obviously this time a year or two ago, these were the people I was just watching on the telly. They're sort of people I'd never thought I'd get to play with, and now I do. So that's fun in itself. So whether I'm winning or losing, hopefully I'll win some. I'll make sure I enjoy it. But yeah, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to get to Ali Pali at one point in the 2 years, whether that's through the rankings or through a qualifier. That'd be really good, like a fantastic experience. And yeah, just see what I can do, stay competitive, and at first just trying to win a few games. It's a different sort of mentality. Normally when I go to a tournament last Saturday, I'm trying to win it. That's the reason I'm there. Whereas going to a pro tour at first, especially, I'm sort of not deluded enough to think I'm going to win it. If I can win a game, then try and win another game, and just take it like that, and hopefully qualify for a Euro tour or two. That'd be good as well. It'd be a fun experience. Yeah, just keep it simple. Make sure I'm enjoying it, and yeah, don't get disheartened if it goes wrong at any point.
Who's the ideal draw for the first pro tour? Who do you want to see come up against your name?
Oh gosh, it's difficult to say. I think sort of all my sort of friends who don't follow darts that much, the one they'll have heard of is Michael Van Gerwen, isn't it? So if he's there, it'd be quite cool to play him. But then, yeah, other than that, there's the way I look at the Pro Tour, there's sort of top 25, 32 maybe who are there, and they're miles ahead. Below that, I've played people who are sort of ranked in the 40s and 50s at local opens, and I've beaten some of them and given others a game. So it's like, I know I can compete with them. So yeah, maybe want to play one of the big boys just to get that experience, and then also play someone who you maybe fancy winning a bit more, because 49 times out of 50 Van Gerwen's going to beat me. Suppose it could be that 1 out of 50, couldn't it, where he has a shocker and I play brilliantly.
It wouldn't be a bad debut, would it?
No, that'd be all right. Yeah, people would be talking about it, wouldn't they? But yeah, who's to say in a year's time I can't be capable of competing with him? I might be. I don't know. I'm not sure what my top level is. It just sort of, say, over the year keep going up. I'm sort of getting an 80. I'm 80 average. That's good. And now on average 80, I'm sort of disgusted with myself. And it's like 90. That's all right. Whereas if I'd averaged 90 a year ago, I'd have been elated. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
It's been a pleasure chatting, Adam. It's a great story to have you on the Pro Tour for the next 2 years, and best of luck in a couple of weeks or whenever it is for the first Pro Tour.
No, thanks a lot, Josh. Appreciate it.